Hello students, in this video we'll discuss negative binomial random variables. A random variable x, which maps the sample space S into R, is negative binomial with parameters R and P if its probability mass function has the form P of n is equal to the probability that x is equal to n is going to be n minus 1, choose r minus 1, p to the r, 1 minus p to the n minus r, for n equals r, r plus 1, r plus 2, etc. And so what we see is that what this represents, so this random variable, these random variables, model are successes the first time you achieve R successes successful experiments in n tries. And so let's examine this carefully. So what this says over here is this says, out of the first n minus 1 tries, you choose r minus 1 successes. So in the first n minus 1 tries, there will be exactly r minus 1 successes. So in n minus 1 attempts, you get r minus 1 successes. And then on the nth attempt, what will happen? So then we'd have what? Then we'd have, for those attempts, we'd have p to the r minus 1, and then we'd have 1 minus p to the n minus r. And then on the next attempt, on the nth attempt, you would get a probability of p for the success. And then you'd have a p to the power r. And so let's find some properties of these negative binomial random variables. So if x is negative binomial with parameters r and p, then the expected value of x, the mean of this random variable, will be the sum. And we'll have the sum over all values. We'll put a k over here. So we'll have n goes from r to infinity. And then we'll have an n over here. And then we'll have an n minus 1, r minus 1. And then we'll have a p to the r, and then a 1 minus p to the n minus r. And so what we'll do is we'll do the same trick as with binomial. We can write this as the sum. We can pull this. We can take this n times n minus 1 r minus 1 as n times n minus 1 factorial over r minus 1 factorial, and then n minus r factorial. And write this as n factorial, and I'll put an r on top. I can put an r on top over here, and then I'll have an n factorial over, this will turn to an r factorial, and then an n minus r factorial. So this is r times n minus r, and choose r, and choose r. And so now we can use this relationship. Our summation becomes the following. Our summation will be the sum n equals r to infinity of r, and then we'll have n choose r, and then a p to the r, 1 minus p to the n minus r. And so what we'll do is we'll pull out a factor of p, 1 over p. And so this will turn into the sum. I'll have an r over p. And then the sum, n goes from r to infinity of n choose r, and then p to the r plus 1, and then 1 minus p to the n minus r. And this is another negative binomial random variable with parameters r plus 1 and p. So this whole series over here will converge to 1. And so we see from this, so this series will converge to 1, since this represents the probability mass function of a negative binomial random variable with parameters r plus 1 and p. And so we see from this that the expected value of x, is equal to r over p. Thank you very much.